Pokemon Winds and Waves was officially announced about a week ago as of this video going live, and it looks good. Like actually good. The water specifically, I honestly believe that since the water was one of the most heavily criticized parts of Scarlet and Violet, they made a tropical island region just to spite us. But that's my conspiracy theory. Speaking of, the tropical island aesthetic is something I love. If you've been watching this channel for a while, you would know that Alola is my favorite region, and Winds and Waves finally scratches that Alola-shaped itch on my back. But you didn't come here to listen to me yap about how good the game looks. There's plenty of people who will do that for me. And besides, the thing that everyone's talking about is the starters. Brout, Pombon, and Gekwa. You want to know which one's my favorite? Well, I don't really have one, they're all good. It's Brout. It's Brout and it isn't even close. He's an angry bird. He's Rowlet too, and I loved Rowlet. Brout is perfect and he could do no wrong. Oh yeah, and the other two are good as well. This is probably the first time since Gen 7 that I really liked the first stage starters, like all three of them. But you know what you came here for, so I'm gonna do my best to evolve these starters, thinking what Game Freak themselves would do. So with no further ado, let's get into it. Damn! Brout, as I mentioned before, is my favorite of the three new starters, but going in dex order, we gotta start with him anyways. This line was actually the one I made for this video last, but possibly with the best inspiration I came up with. Looking at Brout, I had no idea what it could possibly be. It's a little chick or something? But according to the dex entries given by the Pokemon Company, Brout is the Bean Chick Pokemon, and after doing some research, I believe that it's based on the chickpea. First of all, it has chick in the name. On top of that, yes, chickpeas are beans, and Brout does in fact look like a chickpea. Down with its beak and namesake eyebrows sprouting out of the seed. And yeah, if you weren't aware, that's where Brout gets its name from, brow and sprout. And while it's not confirmed what kind of bird Brout is going to evolve into, I've heard a lot of people say it's a chicken, others say it's a kakapo. Since chickpeas are native to what is now modern-day Turkey, I decided to turn it into a turkey. Like the bird. And yes, I see you writing that comment saying, but the turkey isn't native to Turkey, not even close. Turkeys are from the Americas. Yes, I'm aware. However, the pun was just too good not to do something about it. And since Pokemon evolution should never just be a bigger version of their pre-evolution, they should always have something to expand on their concepts. So here, Brout's sprout eyebrows grow even more, resembling the full-grown chickpea plant and its fern, stem? Is it a stem? Yeah, that's the stem. I also implemented turkey elements with the longish neck and discolored legs to reference ever-popular turkey legs. Turkey is a fairly popular food to pair with hummus, whose main ingredient is chickpeas after all. And to top it all off, while wild turkeys are able to fly, domesticated turkeys cannot, thus the underdeveloped wings for a bird Pokemon. So at level 16, your Brout would evolve into Melamis, from Melagris, the scientific name for turkeys, hummus, and lean, as turkeys generally considered a lean meat, a pure grass type. Since the leaves this Pokemon used to photosynthesize are much larger, it absorbs much more energy, causing them to be even more energetic than they were before. They aren't the fastest Pokemon, but their stamina is near unheard of, allowing them to run halfway around the world without stopping. They have a stubborn personality. The leaves on their head have quadrupled, which now allows them to detect small changes in the atmosphere. Despite developing wings, it is still completely grounded. Next up is Pombon, which is actually my least favorite of the trio. Now, don't get me wrong, I still love Pombon, he's precious. I just like the other two a little bit more. As for Pombon's name, it obviously comes from Pomeranian or Pom-Pom dogs, and Bonfire, but I believe it also comes from bonbons, those little chocolate balls that are filled with custard or cream or something, I don't know, I haven't had one in years. Now, one could easily just assume that it pulls the bonbon inspiration simply because it's small and round, like a bonbon, but I think it's gonna go further. So I gave it something of a chef motif, having what appears like chocolate covering its tail, paws, and a little tuft of hair, with the latter two resembling a chef's hat and oven mitts. However, this chocolate isn't chocolate at all. Dogs can't eat chocolate. Instead, this is mud to reference dogs digging around in dirt and mud. It is still a dog after all. The specific dog it is changes as well, going from a Pomeranian to somewhere between a Finnish and German Spitz. One of the large and only things we really got about Pombon was its dex entry, saying that it has an organ next to its lungs that heat up, which I decided to interpret as an oven or a furnace, so I gave it these 3 lines to reference a furnace. Good job. I'm so proud of you. I had a big problem with the face being too similar to Pombon's, and I really wanted to fix that by giving it some whiskers that both look like little wisps of fire, but also a stereotypical chef's mustache. However, even that wasn't enough, so I gave it this long red strip down its face, which did fix my problem. I also covered up its eyes as a way to try to differentiate it from Pombon, but looking back, I might have subconsciously been influenced by the fleas from Silksong. It always comes back to Silksong with this channel, I swear. At level 16, Pombon will evolve into Spitsire, from Spitz and Spitfire, a fire type. These Pokemon are extremely clingy and will quickly warm up to anyone. The balls of mud on its head, tail, and paws are extremely smooth and can seal up injuries quickly and painlessly. The whiskers and throat area of this Pokemon glow red hot. Despite being extremely friendly, this Pokemon isn't that popular as indoor pets, as it sheds a lot, tracks in mud, and barks. The final starter that needs a middle stage is Gekwa, and I'm gonna say it straight up, this is my least favorite design of this video. And it isn't even my first idea. The first idea would be based on Komodo dragons and how it's venomous, and that it would combine with how geckos can climb on walls, and it would be an assassin, and that they use poison-tipped weapons and climb on walls and hide in the shadows and whatever. Pretty cool concept, but the execution I did was not great. Plus the design I made was way bulkier than Gekwa, making it not fit the vibe at all. So I decided to change course. That being said, this middle stage doesn't really have that much of a concept, all the cool inspirations come from the evolution. However, it does have one cool thing. See, for a while, a lot of people thought that the water starters were all based on some sort of weapon. Blastoise is a cannon, Empoleon is a trident, Samurott is a sword, Greninja is a shuriken, and Inteleon is a gun. Now, what are Feraligatr, Swampert, Primarine, and Quaquaval supposed to be? Excellent question. That being said, I decided to make my starter have a grenade. See, Gekwa's dex entry said that they lob balls of water from their tail, referencing how some geckos can spray an icky liquid from their tails in all directions. Kinda like a grenade. Plus they're roundish, like a grenade. Plus their tail also looks like a water balloon. And what is a water balloon if not just a water grenade? I don't have a lot to say about this one. The pose I gave it is pretty cool, but that's really it. So at level 16, Gekwo will evolve into Gexplode, from Gecko into Explode, a water type. This Pokemon is somewhat slow on land, but their swimming is near unmatched. They use the glowing dots on their tail to disorient predators while they make an escape. When cornered, Gexplode can cause their tail to burst, shooting high-pressured water in all directions. After doing this, they must drink large amounts of water to recover their tail. Going all the way back to Brout's evolution, it starts with a big turkey. Something I've been working on starting, like, halfway through this video, is making a symmetrical sketch of all the designs to get a good idea of the proportions and details. Usually I have at least a basic idea of what I want the design to look like, but these starters were actually really difficult to nail down, especially the final forms. The reason I bring it up now instead of before is that this is the design that I really relied on it the most. I had a bunch of different ideas, and for this one I was good, but I just needed to put down something physical. For a while I wanted it to be at least semi-humanoid, and before you come after me with torches and pitchforks, hear me out. I said semi-humanoid, not just straight up humanoid. Plenty of starters are kind of riding the border of humanoid and animalistic, like a bicycle on a tightrope. Besides this, many of the most popular starters, think Sceptile, Decidueye, Blaziken, etc., I believe are all fairly humanoid. It's the super humanoid ones like Incineroar, Meowscarada, and Inteleon that are hated so much because they dip into the uncanny valley. However, after some experimentation, I eventually decided to move away from that and just make it a straight-up turkey. Its inspiration is much more than that, though. You know how I said chickpeas were native to Turkey a while ago, right? Well, if you squint enough, chickpea pods kind of resemble some Turkic helmets, with them being rounded with a spike at the top. So our big fat turkey here is wearing a chickpea pod as a helmet, as well as wearing 2 halves as pauldrons and some chopped up pods on its chest to resemble some Turkic chest plates. The yellow feathers on its head that pour out of the helmet are also meant to resemble the chainmail that would be worn underneath. And finally, to make sure it still looks like the grass type, they gave it some bushy leaf eyebrows. That is what Route was all about after all, and a big turkey tail being a giant bush. So when your Melamis reaches level 36, it evolves into Squawk Elm, from Squawk, Helm, and Elm, the tree. A grass and steel type with the abilities Overgrow and Thick Fat. As this Pokemon evolves, it separates itself from its flock. While they migrate long distances by walking, it cannot run as fast or as long as it used to. The reinforced seed pod armor it wears are as hard as tungsten and attacks bounce right off. As it wanders, the seeds growing from its tail fall off, planting bushes and shrubs wherever it goes. It has a signature move called Seedy Fort, a protect variant that sets up Leech Seed if hit by a contact move. Alright, back to the dog. If I'm being honest, the concept for the final evolution of Pombon is pretty much exactly the same as the middle stage. There is a bit more to it though. The chocolate mud that was atop its head has now melted all over its face, a result of its fire typing. The chocolate covering its eyes, and much floppier ears and significantly larger and sturdier body references that is now an Old English sheepdog. While it's not a Spitz, like its pre-evolutions, it's still a large, fluffy dog, so I think it should count. And the reason why I chose this as opposed to other dogs is, well, yes, it is, like I said, big and fluffy. It also almost looks like someone's grandparent, and grandparents making sweet treats for their little grandkitties is pretty common among people. I don't even want to call it a trope because it happens in real life. Another thing is these cylinders of mud on their head and tail. They both reference chocolate bars, and the one on the head is meant to look like these cylindrical chef hats, the sign of a higher rank as opposed to Spitsire's rounded hat. Speaking of evolving parts of Spitsire, its thin, wispy mustache has now grown into a full beard, and the oven-like patterns on its chest now resemble an apron. With everything coming together, it also references the story of the butcher, the baker, and the candlestick maker. With the baker simply being the fact that it's based on a baker, butcher coming from the fact that butch was a pretty common name for dogs back in the day, and candlestick maker comes from how the little flame atop its hat and tail makes them almost resemble candles. It all comes together so perfectly. So at level 36, Spitsire would evolve into Chalkwound, from Chocolate and Hound, a fire fairy type with the abilities Blaze and Sweet Veil. These Pokemon are slow and deliberate in their movements, but can move with great haste to protect those it cares for. The flames produced by its head and tail make just about any food taste heavenly. The flames on its head and tail are warm to the touch, but will not cause burns. The shed fur from this Pokemon gives off slight warmth, making them common lining for winter coats. It has a signature move called Hearth Flame, which is effectively just a fire-type Pollen Puff variant, dealing damage if used on the opponent, but healing if used on an ally. And finally, the final evolution for Gekwa. The one issue I had while designing this is that while I did want it to be long and slender, I also had to avoid making it look like Inteleon, since Gekwa was already being compared to Sobble, which isn't fair, because just because they're both water reptiles doesn't mean they're the same thing. The idea I had for this was also somewhat similar to Inteleon, so that had to be avoided too. See, I wanted this Pokemon to be inspired by Mission Impossible style heists. It brings a bit of that idea that geckos climb on walls since heisters have to be all sneaky. However, sneaking around in the shadows isn't the only thing you have to do. In plenty of heist scenes in movies, the thieves have to dress up as people attending the party in order to blend in, which is referenced in this design with the head looking like a fedora and the flared skin on the chest looking like an unbuttoned coat. But it also needs some equipment to break into the vault as well. So I have these patterns that look like long boots and gloves, as well as eyelashes from Gekwa looking like an antenna and earpiece to talk to their accomplices. It's a psychic type now, and Gekwa said it was intelligent in the dex, something that every expert thief needs. However, sneaking around will only get you so far. Sometimes you need something with a little more firepower. Like, oh, I don't know, a grenade. To store all of these, it slings its tail over its shoulder to look like those grenade belts. Think like Bomb Voyage from the Incredibles movie. Usually it would just detach these water bombs one at a time and lob it with its large hands. But in a pinch it can fling them all at once. So, at level 36, Gexplode would evolve into Heistyle, from Heist, Reptile, and Hostile, a water psychic type with the abilities Torrent and Unburden. These Pokemon perform elaborate heists to steal food from Pokemon. They usually team up with other intelligent Pokemon like Malamar and Thievul to perform said heists. Their antennae are able to pick up on the thoughts of people and Pokemon near them. They lob explosive balls of water from their tails to make distractions and break through walls. It has a signature move called Tail Burst, which is just a water-type version of Mind Blown, being a 150 base power explosive move that deals half of the user's max HP and recoil damage. And that's all of them. This video was pretty rushed since I had to make 6 designs in a pretty busy week, but I'm glad that I was able to get it out in time. If these were the actual evolutions of the starters in Pokemon Winds and Waves, which one would you pick? The sturdy Squawk Elm, the loyal Chalkwound, or the sly and cunning High-Style? Let me know down in the comments. And if you want more from me, maybe consider subscribing or joining my Discord server. There's a link in the description. But with that being said, I'm gonna go play Pokopia now.